Hey everyone, and welcome to Trail Wisdom Weekly, where it's real talk for runners 35 plus, and I'm going to say runners, walkers, and hikers 35 plus. We're in it for the long game, and when I mean the long game, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to run ultras. What it means is you're going to do this for freaking ever. Okay, so it's my name is Sherry Donahue. I am an ultra runner, and I'm also 35 plus. Believe it or not. So let's get started. Last week, episode one, I shared about how I actually got dragged kicking and screaming into a race called Mud Hero. And I'm not a runner. No, I'm a martial artist. I'm actually a second degree brown belt and are also called a sea hang. And the next step for me is grading for black. And in the midst of this, I was dragged into a mud race. And ended up that I didn't do that bad, I didn't die, and what I wanted after that race was a race called Death Race. Now, the thing is, Canadian Death Race, there's also a death race in Georgia, it's 50K. The Canadian Death Race is 125 kilometers, 3 mountain summits, a river to cross, and 24 hours to do it in. Now, I didn't wanna go solo, nah, I'm not that dumb, but I was thinking about, what about if I'm on a team? And get this, I am not a runner. I am not a runner yet. I no. But it ended up that, I ended up formulating a team, putting together a team of martial artists. We called ourselves Defying Age and Gravity because all of us are 45 plus. We're in martial arts. We don't have anything to prove. And for 3 people on this team, it was a bucket list check off. So I thought I was captain of the team. I had the last lake coming in. Hey, this is golden. This is sweet. So yeah, until it wasn't. So this week's episode is episode 2. It's Death Race, the moment that changed everything. And when it comes down to it, it wasn't one moment. There was quite a few moments throughout this whole process where a lot of things have changed. And it's redefined me as to who I am, both as an athlete and a runner. So what happened at the end of this, I realized that, I'm in this race, I gotta train. You gotta start training. So I started power walking because I could do that and I could do that really well. And I have a boatload of endurance. So I started power walking, and because my leg was the last leg, it was leg number 5, in the dark, through the bush. I'm not running. Let's get serious. I am not running, so I chose that leg, and the biggest thing that I had to worry about was getting to the boat at 6 a.m. And why the boat is because no one is swimming across the Smoky River. It's way too fast, way too cold, and way too deep. So it is, you catch the boat to go across the river and you take it in on to town. And I thought, you know what? This is going to be the leg I do. I got no worries. So in training for this race, I ended up that I would go for a few kilometers with a friend of mine. And by the way, I'm in Canada, so we we go by kilometers over here. And we go for a few, and then one day I heard go longer, go longer. So I got out of the car and I went for longer, and I ended up going for 16 kilometers. And then I went for 25. So in that midst of that, I discovered that I have a lot of endurance. So this was something that I really never knew about myself. I knew I was strong. I knew I'm a strong, built for strength, not necessarily speed. But in that, I've discovered that I have endurance and I'm strong. So let's fast forward to the race. And it was the hottest day pretty much on record for this race. And, people were dropping like flies, and my team was still good. And my team had done what they never thought they could do. Leg one did it, and she was so proud of herself. She went farther than she could. And plus, this is terrain we're talking about here. This is single track, double track. It is You're climbing, you're descending, you're going over rocks. So it's not flat by any stretch of the imagination. It's not flat. It's challenge. And it was hot. So it ended up that All of my team did their leg, and in the middle of the night, I can't remember what time it was, I'm waiting, and my leg 4 runner come in off Mount Hamel, that's a 37 kilometer up the mountain and down, and he handed the coin off to me, and the coin is something that you carry in your pack so that it is like it's kinda like a real it's a we were on a relay team, so you carry your coin, and by the way, soloists and team members carry the coins. If you drop it, you don't find it, you're out of the race. So it's something you really hold on to. So when I got the coin and I set off up the hill, realized the hills are hard to climb, and right then, I had my come to Jesus moment. I looked and it was a long way up, and this is in the dark, it's pitch black, in the bush. It's a long way up, and I looked down, it's a long way down, and I honestly started to cry, and was like, "I don't know if I could do this. I have 24 kilometers to do. I've never done 24 kilometers like this. I don't know if I could do this." And I looked and it was like a realization. My team did their job. It was now all up to me. I had the weight of my team on my shoulders. And I'm having this moment up going, I don't know if I could do this. And I looked down and I thought, you know what? I'd be so humiliated to go back to that parking lot and say, guys, I can't do this. My team gutted it, and here I am. And there was also the realization, the moment that also really much changed everything for me is the realization that they peeled it out of the parking lot. They wouldn't be there. I could go to back to the transition and here's the truth. They wouldn't be there. So I got to walk anyway. So I might as well walk forward. So after walking up, it's a pretty steep climb, the transition 5, and I ended up tripping over a tree root and hugging a tree and looking over and I went, "Oh, that would have hurt if I would have went there." And I just started walking, and I heard once, "Run the flats and, hike the whatevers," and I just went, "No, I'm power walking this whole thing." And I just settled in and I just started to do it. And in the dark, you really can only see a few feet in front of you from what your headlamp does. All you do is see the trail markers. And there's really no sense of where you are unless you know the trail. This is the first time I've ever been on this trail. So here I am going through the dark and just one step in front of the other, keep going, and keep going. And I remembered that there was something called the Crack of Doom. And what the Crack of Doom is it's a great big boulder that was split in half. And I saw something and there was a sign on it, go through or go around. And it didn't register in my mind what that was. So I kept on going and all of a sudden I was at the river. And I looked and there was an aid station at the river and I went, "Where's the Crack of Doom?" And she goes, "Oh, it's about 2 kilometers back." And I went, "Well, number one, I'm not going back to find it." And I was like, I missed it. I missed going through that rock. And I realized what that sign meant at the time. I could either go around it or I can go through that. I could squeeze my body through that. And I was like, oh man, I missed it. But here I was at the river, and she also said, "Oh, and by the way, there was a bear that was in the area not long ago, so you missed that one too." And I'm okay with that one. But I got on the boat, climbed into the boat, and rode across the Smoky River, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to have that respite across the river. It's even more great when you have a full moon and going across the river. And it was a sense that I am a good way through my leg. I really am. And I climbed across to the other side, and there was this girl there, and she looked and she went, "I've been waiting for you." I went, "I don't know who you are. What do you mean you've been waiting for me?" She was a soloist that she was scared to go by herself. So she was waiting for another runner to come so that she had somebody else in the back that she knew she was with somebody. So off we went and went through the remainder of the bush. and I passed something called Soul Tree, and it's where a lot of running shoes are hung, and it's actually a memento of the race. It's actually quite cool, and then all of a sudden, I was on the gravel road on the way to town, and sunrise was happening, and sunrise about 5 o'clock in the morning there, and, I realized that, "Wow, I'm coming in." And as I got closer and closer and closer to the finish line, I just bombed it into the finish line, and my team wasn't expecting me, and I when I saw the blankets fly up, and they didn't expect me so soon, and in that moment, there was another defining moment. I did it. And it was not only I did it, yay, but I did something that I didn't think I could ever do. I didn't think I could go that distance in those conditions. I didn't think I could go that distance, period. And when everything all calmed down and when we got our coins and we talked after, all of us did something we never thought was possible for us. Because, running distance or running period or doing this thing, that's what other people do. For some reason, we didn't think we could, but we did it. And at the moment, I thought this was a check off the bucket list that I did something pretty spectacular. I did something great. But here's the truth. It left me with an insatiable hunger for more. I wanted it. I wanted the next race. I wanted to see what else I can do. What does my body have in me that I could do? Where are my limits that I could push to? That's what I want to find out. And I also wondered, like, how could I do this that I'm not trashing my body? And yeah, here's a disclaimer in ultras, there is some they can be hard on the body for sure. But how could I do this so that I have the least amount of damage to my body? I was wondering, what are those questions? Where's those answers? I need to find them. And that's what Death Race did for me. It unleashed. Now, did I grade for my black belt in martial arts? No, I didn't. Because I looked at it and went, this isn't the path I want to go. I want I want to be out there. I want to be in the wild. And so that unleashed, and I have to ask you, what is sitting inside of you that's waiting to come out? Where have you self-doubted? Because before this, yeah, I doubted myself that I could ever do something like this. Because, unfortunately, we have an image, at least I did, of what I grew up in childhood. In childhood, I wasn't the running type. And now I will say that in childhood and elementary school, it was all about speed, 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 and who was good at the time. It wasn't about who with training can go the distance. And that's something that sadly a lot of us carry with us. We think back of what we did in elementary school and whether you were on a team or not on a team or like the Canada fitness test that we used to have. Oh, I hated that thing. Constant reminder of how much of a failure I was. Anybody resonate? Hmm? So when I did this, no, you're not your story. You're not who you were. Your story is waiting to be written. You're just getting started. Just getting started. So I ask you, where are you just getting started? Where, if you took the chance and did something you didn't think was possible and you did it, what would that unleash? Now I look at this and going, my mom used to say, well, you know what? That's all for the younger generation. My answer to that was, why the hell should they have all the fun? And I'm asking as well, too, how many of you are like this fellow I saw at the chiropractor's office yesterday, and he said, "Oh man, I'm old. I'm getting old. And I'm old, and everything hurts, and yada yada yada." And another fellow said, "Well, it doesn't get any better as you get older, and all that stuff." And I I had my head down untying my shoe, and I looked up, and I looked at this fellow, and I went, "I'm old enough to be your damn mother, and you're complaining about being old? Hmm." So how many of you out there look at this at age? That's a number, but it's how you feel. The 60s and you 40 or whatever you wanna put it, that there is life and vitality inside you that it's there's a lot of life left. If you're saying, "Yeah, that's me," then you belong here. Because you know what? One go around at this, and you know what? Let's just make it the best that we can. So I asked you, what's your defining moment? Think back. Is there something that you did that you thought, I can't do that? It ends up you did. And it left you with what else is there out there? What else can I do? Where else can I go with this? That is what Trail Wisdom Weekly is all about. Let's get out there. Let's if any of you are going into your later in life, your golden years, or however you want to put it, let's make them really golden. Let's be epic and let's show these young kids, you know what? There's a hell of a lot of life left and it's time to live it. Oh, and by the way, about the coin, that's our finisher medal. We all got coins after to commemorate the race. Mine's in my trophy cabinet, and that was a start. That was the start of everything. So think about what this episode was about. Is where have you backed yourself into a corner and realize that there's a choice. There's a choice that you can go back and live mediocrity, or you can go forth and see what's really waiting for you. Until then, get out there, get some trail, and we'll see you later.